like Fox News. Simulcast from Long Beach, yeah.
Got the whole support team back here.
So stop smiling so much.
Okay.
We ready, Brendan? Okay, we're live. Hi, I'm Dominic Palmer, Superintendent of Merrick Schools. I'd like to welcome all of our community members and candidates. When the Board of Election has more candidates than available seats, the Merrick School District tradition is to hold a Meet the Candidates Night. The event is organized by one of the school's PTA with the League of Women Voters. This year, Lakeside PTA organized the event. Thank you to Shari and Yana for their help in getting that started. I'd like to take a moment to thank our current board members, President Sigal Negrin, Vice President Nancy Kaplan, Trustee Joe Levine, Gina Piskin, Butch Shamali, and Linda Wilkes, who are all present this evening. I would also like to thank our school administrators, faculty, and support staff for the wonderful work they have been doing throughout this pandemic. I am sure that many of them are currently listening as well. Thank you to our students, parents, and the whole community for their role in making the best of these challenging times. On June 9th, the Merrick community will vote for the school budgets of the Merrick School District and the Belleville and Merrick Central High School District. They will select 3 board members for the Merrick School District. Voting is at large, with the 2 highest scoring candidates receiving 3-year terms. The 3rd highest candidate will complete the 1-year remaining.
Dom, audio is not working.
I hear it. I hear it.
I hear it.
Yep. I'll get a little closer just in case. They will complete the 1-year remaining vacated sports seat. All voting is done by absentee ballot. Ballots will be sent to qualified voters. We expect the ballots will be brought to the post office tomorrow and will take a few days to reach homes. Please complete your ballot and mail it back as soon as possible. Now we turn the meeting over to the League of Women Voters, moderator Jessica Weaver, and our timekeeper, Fran Fadato. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the Merrick Union Free School District Candidates Night, sponsored in conjunction with the district and the League of Women Voters. My name is Jessica Weaver and I am not from this district. I'm from Port Washington and I will serve as your moderator this evening. I represent the League of Women Voters. The purpose of the League is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League is nonpartisan and does not support or oppose any political party or any candidate. Throughout its history, the League has provided opportunities for candidates seeking public office to take their case directly to the voters. We hope that you find this forum informative. The candidates have agreed ahead of time to a set of rules. I'm going to read an abbreviated version of those rules very quickly so that the participants know what to expect. Number 1, the moderator will be a member of the League of Women Voters from outside the voting district. Number 2, candidates from the same office will draw lots to determine the order of speaking. In this case, the candidates determined to go alphabetically. 3, each candidate will be allowed 3 minutes for an opening statement, 2 minutes for a closing statement, and 1.5 minutes to answer each question. There is no rebuttal in this candidates night. The moderator will be the arbiter of whether questions are appropriate, repetitive, or abusive. Questions from the audience may be addressed to a specific candidate or to the candidates in general. However, all candidates will be given an opportunity to answer all questions. The moderator will attempt to rotate the order of responses for each question. A League member will act as timekeeper. A 1/2 minute from the end of any given time period, the timekeeper will warn the speaker by prearranged signal. When the time is up, the speaker will be allowed to finish the sentence. There's no videotaping allowed other than what is being currently done by the district. All right, without further ado, we will begin with opening statements to begin in alphabetical order. That means you, Mr. Bashian, please give your opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Eric Bashian. First, I want to thank the district and the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. Times have been tough. but over these last few months, our community has come together and has grown stronger. With the ability of our district to adapt to this pandemic and offer virtual homeschooling and events such as this, it shows that we could overcome anything. A big thank you to the administrators, teachers, and most importantly, to the parents and students. However, now we must do better. Running for the school board is a personal matter for my family. I've been a Merrick resident since 2010. My wife, a physician in Belmore, was raised in Merrick and attended Birch. We now have elementary age children who attend school at Lakeside. I have a vested interest in the education and future of all children in Merrick. Most importantly, I want to ensure that all of our children get back to attending school in person in the safest manner possible. Of course, we must follow the directives of our government, but I want to be a part of this decision-making process when it becomes a reality. I understand and appreciate the severity of this virus, but I also understand the risks and damages that may be caused by having our children isolated without friends and without in-person learning. I also identify the impacts it has on working parents who are required to push their livelihood to the side to teach and supervise their children. I am currently one of those parents. The virus will eventually pass, but in the meantime, nothing can replace the importance of our children learning in a real-time environment. As I mentioned, my wife is a physician, and having the ability to speak with her and her colleagues about getting our children back into school in a safe and healthy environment is an invaluable tool that will be useful in these new and challenging times. I also believe that my professional skills and training will be an asset to this district. I'm an attorney with 15 years of litigation experience, which includes representation of students in educational related matters. My ability to advocate is something that I take great pride in. In addition, my capability to review and interpret legal documents, contracts, and financials will be an added value to the board. I am a true leader, and although I do not follow the masses, I enjoy working with others as a team player. I'm also very ethical and will put others on the board to those same standards. For those listening without elementary age children, this means I will also be working for you to ensure that others are performing their positions as lawfully required and that your tax dollars are spent wisely. I'd also like to share that I'm a very active participant in Merrick. Following Hurricane Sandy, I coordinated and created a donation pickup with the help of local temples for those residents who lost everything. Through the Nassau County Bar Association, I've acted as a volunteer for Super Sandy recovery consultations and mortgage foreclosure clinics. And I'm an active participant in local youth sports, where I'm a manager and sponsor of the Merrick Belmore Little League, a coach at Merrick PAL Soccer, as well as Belmore Merrick Basketball. Now is the time for real change on the school board. Now is the time to once again elect parents with children who attend school in the elementary district to the board. It is also the time to reflect on why the same people continue to run and in the past get elected either unopposed or by forming teams that shut out fresh faces and voices. I know that our community is smart and will vote for those who serve our district with a rejuvenated interest and importance. I'm a dedicated and caring parent who's committed to our community and our children. I hope that I'll be one of the individuals you vote for on June 9th. Please vote for Bashian on June 9th.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Levine.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for coordinating this, and I appreciate the creativity in this year's Meet the Candidates Night. As with so many things, we've had to change with these unprecedented times. I also would like to wish all of the candidates the best of luck. I have been a Merrick resident for 20 years. My husband Craig and I made a great choice when we chose Merrick. My son Josh is a rising junior at Cornell. My daughter Sammy is a freshman at Kennedy, and my daughter Riley is about to graduate from MAMS. My kids are all graduates of our incredible Merrick School District, and my son Robbie, whose foundation, the Robbie Levine Foundation, we started following his death in the 4th grade, also attended Lakeside School. I'm originally from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and received a BA in psychology from the University of Michigan. I attended Boston University, where I earned a dual master's degree in both social work and public health. I worked for many years as a medical social worker, mainly in oncology, but also worked in home care as well as geriatrics. I am currently a part-time course coordinator at Hofstra University for a graduate program. There is nothing more important to me than my family. For 23 years, my life has revolved around my children and my family. For 17 years, I was the mom of a student at Lakeside, and while there, held multiple positions in the PTA, both on the executive committee and as many, many committee chairs. I was class parent every year. I tried to give my all to anything that I am involved with, and the school board gave me the perfect opportunity to do just that. For years, people suggested that I run for school board trustee, and 6 years ago, it seemed the right time for that. I am so glad that I made that decision. In my personal, professional, and school board roles, I always strive to do what I feel is the right thing. As a school board trustee, I do my best to listen to all opinions before making a decision and to engage with all stakeholders involved. I always consider consequences and do whatever I can to keep the costs down for taxpayers while still maintaining and improving the quality of American education. As the mom of students in our central district, I see just how important the continuity and connection is between our elementary, middle, and high schools. I am proud of our current board, and I am proud of our school district. We have a large task at hand ahead of us with the current COVID crisis. We strive to be current, fair, and when needed, able to change with the environment, and this is certainly an ever-changing environment. I hope to earn your vote to continue to make our Merrick community and our schools the outstanding places that they are. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Solomonzadeh.
Yes, that was perfect. Don't worry. You did just fine. Thank you. So yes, my name is Richard Solomon-Zada. I'm running for Merrick School Board because I think now more than ever, our local school board needs new trustees with fresh insight to navigate through the uncharted waters that we're about to engage in. This will be the second time I'm running for the school board. So I'm hoping that the old saying of the second time being a charm is true. I'd love nothing more than to serve on this board and to dedicate my time and energy to it. My wife, Debbie, and I have 3 wonderful young children, 2 that are in Lakeside and 1 that is at Birch. The 2 that are at Lakeside, our oldest is graduating from 6th grade and moving and making the transition to the middle school. And we have twin first graders. 1 is at Lakeside and 1 is at Birch, receiving additional services at Birch. So I'm familiar with both schools. I'm a member of both their PTAs and have participated in their PTA meetings, as well as going to the PTA meetings at Chatterton as well. I regularly volunteer at their school events. I serve lunch at both Lakeside and Birch for the past 2 years, at least once a month at both schools, because it's really a lot of fun to serve lunch to the kids and see them. I regularly have attended board meetings for the past 3 years approximately. I also coach and manage the Little League for my son's baseball. As a practicing lawyer for over 20 years, I pride myself on being able to analyze problems fairly, objectively, to always take a reasonable approach to problem solving, working collaboratively to benefit my clients. And in this case, the entire district would be my client. I've had experience litigating all sorts of cases, from negligence to breach of contract, as well as negotiating all types of transactional agreements. I'm also a teacher. I'm an educator at Hofstra University. I've also taught at Nassau Community College as well as Brooklyn College. And as a teacher, I'm acutely aware of the skills that students need to succeed in today's society. And I know that these skills that are developed over time are encouraged and cultivated in their early education and in their primary school education. My personal and professional life experiences give me, I think, a unique insight into the important issues that face parents, students, and teachers in our community, which is why I firmly believe that a school board should be comprised of trustees like myself who have young children in this district. The board makes decisions regularly that involve school safety, virtual learning, services, programs, budgeting, and tax. These crucial and long-lasting decisions should be made by individuals that have children in the system that are directly affected by these decisions. I also believe that it's vitally important for a trustee to be approachable and accessible. I pledge to every single member of this community. I've already sent out the mailers to the 1,500 voters that voted in last year's election. I provided my email address to everybody. Anybody that would like my cell phone number can have it, just like all my clients get my cell phone number. And I think it's important to be able to reach out to the parents that are in this community to be able to hear what their concerns are. If after this Zoom meeting, if any community members would like to reach out to me, feel free to email me at richardsoley.esq@AOL or look me up on Facebook.
Thank you very much. Ms. Venditti?
Thank you. My name is Nicole Venditti, and I've lived in Merrick for over 12 years with my husband, DJ. Like so many others, we bought our home here because of the excellent reputation of the Merrick School District. Our daughter, Sophia, is in 6th grade at Birch Elementary School, along with her brother, Frank, who is in the 1st grade. Our son, Andrew, is in the 3rd grade, and he attends a special education program at Lakeside School. I earned my bachelor's and master's degree from CW Post, and I graduated from Hofstra University School of Law in 2004. I've always been drawn to public service. I worked as a law guardian, representing children in abuse and neglect cases in family court, and I served as an assistant district attorney in Queens County for almost 6 years. After my son Andrew was born, I was inspired to devote my legal practice exclusively to education law to help families navigate through the world of special education. I've been a very active member of our school community. I've twice served as a class parent. I've served lunch. I've organized volunteers. I've sat on site-based committees, and I've attended our district's Board of Education meetings. 2 years ago, I led the effort to bring a special education PTA back to Merrick. And in May 2018, the community voted to charter the new Merrick School District Special Education PTA. I've proudly served as its first president for the past 2 years. I'm running for the Board of Education because I care deeply about this community and the education our children receive. I believe in the importance of a well-rounded curriculum, giving our children every opportunity to reach their greatest potential while supporting the different learning abilities of every child. If elected, I will work for quality, affordable education, being mindful of the fiscal impact on every taxpayer, and I will continue to advocate for equitable state aid. As we move forward in a post-pandemic world, I am eager to collaborate with our board, our administrators, our faculty and staff to bring our kids back to school in a way that is safe and appropriate for all. Regardless of the outcome of this election, I promise to continue to work for all of our families in Merrick. But I would love the opportunity to sit on the board and bring my heart, my passion, and my experience as a mother and an advocate to the job. Thank you.
And lastly, sorry, Mr. Yamale.
Thank you. I'm on. Okay. First, I want to wish all the candidates the best of luck. I've lived in the Merrick community for the past 20 years. My dedication to the community has been lifelong, and my experience is unparalleled. I have a deep commitment to the Merrick community, to the education of our children, from operating multiple businesses and volunteering for a host of worthy causes, to serving on the Merrick School Board since my hometown is part of my identity. I've been on the school board since 2008. I'm eager to continue putting my background and experience to work for the benefit of the school children, taxpayers, the dedicated staff who work for the school district. My children have attended Merrick schools and received the finest education. They have all enjoyed benefits of their education, realizing personal and career successes. My oldest daughter, Danielle, graduated the University of Delaware and Brooklyn Law School. She is currently a practicing attorney. My daughter, Celeste, graduated from Parsons School of Design. She won the highest awards of art in the Belmont Merrick School District. She is currently in charge of wedding planning and designing at the Milleridge Inn and Cottage. Finally, my youngest child, Abraham, graduated from Long Island University and now is currently the largest Pepsi distributor on Long Island. I attribute all this to the work and the great beginnings at the Merrick School District. As a business person who is in charge of numerous enterprises for over 35 years, including the Milleridge Inn, the Coral House, Peter's Clam Bar, to name a few, I have a passionate and tireless in my work. I have brought that same passion to the Merrick School Board. Auditing and monitoring expenses and reducing spending are talents that I have refined in the business world. I brought those same skills to the Merrick School Board. In short, I work to provide the best possible service for the lowest cost possible in the business world for the Merrick schools. Many of you say, oh my God, Butch is going at it again. He's challenging every kind of question and all the different expenditures. And that's just what I do. I'm going to continue to do that. I've repeatedly trimmed wasteful and unnecessary spending from the district budgets. At the same time, I work to hold the line on spending in our school district. I've also held true to the priority of ensuring that there have been no reductions in the services and programs that our children enjoy. We have the best school district, one of the best in the state, and we're one of the top in the country because of our tireless work. Giving back to the community is something that's important, a part of who I am. Being beyond my volunteer efforts at Merrick School, but I've served on the board of directors of American Red Cross, as well as Mount Sinai, South Nassau Hospital. I'm a current board member. I've been involved in the fundraising fight against COVID-19 pandemic at the hospital. Some of my other community involvement includes serving as president of the Merrick Little League for 11 years. During those 11 years, I brought 9 state titles to the Merrick community. I'm also a vice chairman of Toys for Tots that's funded by the Marines. And we provide toys for children, needy children. My priorities for the Merrick School Board as we move forward are eliminating wasteful spending, planning for the safe reopening of the school to address COVID-19 concerns, maintaining small class sizes, that's most important to me, continuing my practice of donating resources to the district, whether it be food, security, whatever it may be, I'm here to do that. Addressing the evolving needs of students in areas of bullying, allergies, and special education. Keeping Merrick as one of the top school districts in the country is my goal. The impact of coronavirus is undeniable. Planning for that health impacts.
Mr. Uvalde, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but your time is up.
Okay, I got one more, like half a minute, half a second.
You can finish your sentence according to the rules.
Okay. The virus is critical, whether securing needs for PPEs or student and staff. I have to take one more quick sentence. I'm sorry, just one more quick one. One of the most pressing issues is not receiving the attention of the Gates Foundation plan to transition to online learning and to work.
All right, Mr. Uvalde, I'm sorry, but I do have to stop you. According to the rules, your opening statement is concluded. I'm going to ask the first question now that will be addressed to all of the panelists, beginning with someone who made their opening and closing in the middle, Mr. Solomon-Zada. The first question for all of the candidates tonight is, how many school board meetings have you attended? And as a board member, do you think it's important to have a consistent track record regarding attendance at meetings? Beginning with you, Mr. Solomon-Zada.
So if I'm definitely this year, I've attended every school board meeting. Last school year, I think I attended everyone except for 2. And the only, with the exception this year of the virtual meeting that was held back in May. But all those meetings are available on the podcast regardless. So I've attended effectively all the school board meetings. But just as important, I think, for attending the school board meetings for a board member, I think it's important that we attend PTA meetings as well. I think it's important that you're in touch with the PTA and that you're there to hear their concerns, to hear their discussions, to hear some of the issues that come up in the PTA meetings themselves. And just to be there as an observer, just to be there as a parent for that matter, I think is important. I think as important as being at each board meeting is being at every school function, whether it's concerts, plays, God willing, we get back to those. Just being in the hallways of PTA meetings when they're being held, or being involved on the day-to-day activities of a school and being there to see them, to actually see the kids and the teachers, and to have your ear to the ground and understand what's going on with firsthand experience. It's one thing to have firsthand experience while you're sitting on a board. It's another thing to have firsthand experience in the school itself.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon-Zada. Mr. Bashian, same question.
So as an owner of a law practice and somebody who works extremely late, many of the times my life is juggling a busy schedule. And that schedule includes, managing 2 baseball teams, coaching the kids' basketball team, and coaching soccer. I try to make it to the board meetings whenever I can. I have attended in the past, but my attendance has not been regular. I'm a fresh face, and I'm somebody new who is going to step into the board and is going to be able to understand and see what is going on at the meetings, and be able to make decisions that are going to help our children in the future. It's my understanding some of the current board members do not attend meetings. But my promise to you is that if I am elected to the board and have an obligation to this community, I will be at the board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Levine.
No audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. I have a very good meeting attendance record. I've been on the board for 6 years. I don't know how many exact meetings I have missed, but I can tell you it is very, very few. And any time that I have missed a meeting, it's because I have attended an event for one of my children, which has conflicted at the exact same time. But I've also been known to run back and forth. I'll go to the meeting, I'll leave to go see my child get an award or whatever it is, and I'll come back to the meeting. You know, all of the minutes and the attendance, they're all on the website. I mean, if somebody wants to go and count, but I do have I've missed very few meetings. Just speaking to what Mr. Solomon-Zade said regarding the PTA, like I had mentioned before, I held multiple positions on the PTA. I attended regular PTA meetings constantly. I attended the executive committee. I attended the executive board. I spoke as a school board representative at Lakeside many times. And additionally, I do agree with you that you really need to have the feel of what's going on in the school. But I have a lot of contacts and I have several children, and my children all have friends, and my best friends are made from when my kids were at Lakeside School, and I'm constantly texting them, checking in. Oh, what is your feeling on the remote learning? What is your feeling on the security? What is your feeling? And I've been there for those PTA meetings back when I first started, when there was, you know, is standing room only. And I've been there at those PTA meetings when there was 5 people. I've seen it all, and I think it's very important.
Thank you, Ms. Levine. Mr. Yamali.
Attendance at board meetings, my attendance, I've been on the board for 12 years. Unless there's an emergency or there's an illness, that's the only time I ever miss a meeting. I just don't miss a meeting because I don't feel like going. And if I do miss a meeting for whatever reason it may be, I will contact one of the other board members or the superintendent, get filled in, always available by phone, unless there's something, a dire emergency I just can't make it to. Meetings are very important, but being aware of what's going on and reading the materials and knowing what the different questions or problems or issues are at hand, that's the most important part. And you can weigh in on those things, you know, and discuss it with your fellow board members. I am always available at meetings when there is a major issue, a major concern, and I make it my business to try and make every single meeting that I can make it to. I am involved in a large business, and at times I do have trouble, you know, could be whatever type of trouble it may be, and I can't attend, but like I said before, I will be on the phone to make sure that I understand what's going on. I'm also a member of the audit committee. I'm also a member of many other committees throughout the course of time. I've been involved in many of the school events and activities, and I donate my time and whatever I can for the school district to make sure that everything's right. That's my answer.
Thank you very much. Ms. Venditti.
So I've been attending our district's Board of Education meetings very regularly for the past 3 years. First, as a concerned parent to find out what was going on in the community, but also as the president of the Merrick School District SEPTA, because I felt it was important to understand what was happening in the community and to be able to pass information on to our members. And just to be civic minded. I go to board meetings not only when there's something that's important to me that I know is going to be discussed. I go to hear what's going on in the community, you know, to understand what the concerns of the community are. And so I can see how the board is going to respond to them in real time. As a trustee, if I'm elected, I promise to make it to every board meeting that I possibly can, save for a big emergency. I'm proud of the fact that for the past 3 years, I've been able to attend. I have my own law practice. I have 3 kids. I'm the president of an organization. I have a child with very significant disabilities. But I have to give credit where credit is due. I have a wonderful family, a very supportive husband, and I have a community around me that really helps me out. And I think it's very, very important for a trustee to be present at board meetings. Yes, there's a lot else that goes along with the job. They have to be responsive outside of the boardroom, but also in the boardroom. And if a board member is not there during a public meeting, they can't vote. And it's very important. That's what we elect them for, to be present, to listen to the community, and to be able to vote.
Thank you all. The next question will first be directed to Mr. Bashian. And that question is, if you are elected and the state dictates schools resume distance learning, then what is one implementable change that you believe parents should reasonably expect you will vigorously advocate for?
When you say distance learning, are you talking about virtual learning, or are you talking about being?
I read the question verbatim. You may clarify it with your interpretation if you wish.
So I think it's very important that in the fall, we get students back into schools. I believe that obviously this is at the mandate of state and local government, but in order to do that, there needs to be cooperation from everybody involved, including parents, to ensure that when their children go to school, that they're not sick. I think that I want to be part of the plan to help make changes in the district, whether that's potentially converting water fountains into essential hand washing stations upon entry and throughout the school day, or having PPE for teachers and administration who are at higher risk, including gloves and masks. I also believe that we need to take away from having circle tables for the younger children and start giving maybe more individualized desks that the students required to wipe up and clean, potentially also eating in the classroom, which I'd like to work with those parents who also have children with allergies. I think that this isn't a time where we should be hoping that our kids stay home and Zoom their education for the next few years. I believe this is a time to get children back into school. I think that parents need to work. I think that we need to make sure that we could do this in the safest and healthiest way possible. Another thing that I'm thinking about looking into is whether or not we could try to redistribute the amount of students on buses so every student could have an assigned seat on the bus where everyone's not all together. I think that these different methods and ways, which are only in the beginning stages and obviously need to be fleshed out, would help us getting children back safe in a socially distanced environment.
Thank you. Can everyone just raise your hand if you can see the timer? Okay, so what you need to do is go to your top right hand. I hate to interrupt you if you genuinely can't see the timer. Go to the right hand corner of your screen. You should see something that says gallery view. If you click on that, you can see everyone who's participating in this Zoom, and that will help you.
Yeah, but who's holding the timer?
Francine Furtado, she's not on. There are 3 non-video participants. One is the superintendent. The other is Brendan, who I believe is in charge of the tech. And Francine Furtado, she's holding up the stop sign and waving.
Okay.
The timer.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. I don't need to interrupt you. Okay. Very good. And Ms. Levine, you are the next on the list to answer that question.
Okay. Can you just repeat the exact question again? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. If you are elected and the state dictates schools resume distance learning, what is one implementable change that you believe parents should reasonably expect you will vigorously advocate for?
Well, the first thing that I will vigorously advocate for is getting our children back to school. I don't think there is one parent or really even any person who thinks that what's going on right now is reasonable. Just speaking for myself, I have a son that's getting ready to be a senior in college. I mean, clearly he wants to be at school. I have a daughter who is about to start high school, and I have another daughter who just had her softball season that she lives for just taken away from her. And if we don't go back to school, she's going to have her volleyball season taken away from her. And I think it's very important to realize that all those things I just said have nothing to do with the actual education of our kids. It has to do with the well-roundedness of our kids. And that's the part that I feel that our kids are clearly missing out on. The teachers are doing an amazing job, and there's only so much you can do through a computer. So I just think that my answer is I will do anything that I can possibly do. And I think what we need to do is really, like I said before, hear from all of our stakeholders. If we get the green light to go ahead, I think we need to hear from the teachers. We need to hear from the administrators. We need to hear from the parents. Maybe we even need to hear from some of the older kids. I think that simple things like putting Purell stations, everywhere. I mean, even maybe going back to basics, the classrooms are wonderful places with the reading corners and all of the different places. But if it means getting our children actually in the classroom, maybe we need to change some of those things temporarily. Maybe we need to just put desks in. So if that is what to start can get our kids back to school. Thank you.
Mr. Yamali.
I believe the most important thing is getting everybody back to school. In my opinion, that's the most important thing. It's healthy. It helps with their well-being, and it's just being home the way it is now is just not working. I think we have to refer back to the teachers and the superintendent to get the best idea of what works best for the curriculum. I mean, we could say whatever we want. We're first going to be mandated by the governor's executive orders or the CDC, and that's where we're going to get basically every rule that we're going to have to follow. I believe in social distancing. I believe in, sanitizing, hand washing, wearing masks, but are they all realistic? Okay, we know that these are children, some of them very small, and we're going to, try and teach them these new goals to take care of themselves. But if the teacher is not on board and they don't feel they can do it, we're just wasting our time. So it's more important to me to go to the teachers. These are the people that make your children great, the great beginnings of the school district, and ask them what they feel and try and put that into the same guidelines as the CDC would put together for us so that we understand, the best way to teach the children while, having the social distancing and having everything that's safe for COVID-19 and, keep it away from us as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Venditti.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Clearly, we can all agree that our children need to be in school with their teachers, their friends, and their peers. I would like our schools to just reopen and get back just to the way we were on March 12th, but clearly that is not going to be what happens. It's going to have to be some kind of gradual return to school somehow. And I'm not really sure how that happens because right now we're in the information gathering stage. What would be very helpful, and I just want to put this out there, is Dr. Palmer sent a link. It's to a thought exchange. It was put out by BOCES. BOCES has 37 districts in the state, and it's an online thought exchange. I took one myself the other day. You can find the link to it on the Merrick School District SEPTA webpage if you can't find it in your email or on our Facebook page. And basically what you could do is share your thought very concisely. You could share a number of thoughts, and then others in the community can rate your thoughts, because this is the way that the state understands where all the parents and teachers are at, because we're in an information gathering stage. And once we have that, we have to, oh my gosh, my son is going to crash the party.
Take care of your son. Take care.
There's a lot to unpack. We're going to have to go, the governor is going to issue his guidelines. We're going to have to work with the CDC. We have to see if things are going to be feasible according to those guidelines. We have to see if the governor is going to relax the Part 100, Part 200 regulations. So it's going to be really tough. I think we can do it. We're going to have to collaborate with the Teachers Association. And it's a tough job, but I really think we can do it. And I'm up for the job.
Mr. Solomon-Zada.
Thank you. So I actually posted on on Facebook a couple of days ago a long statement regarding this issue. So I would urge anyone to go view it on Facebook so you can get a better understanding of my position on it. This is the predominant issue that every parent right now is feeling. And I think that for once in my life, I'm going to say that now is the best time to at least have one attorney that understands litigation, understands interpretations of law, understands implementation and execution on the school board. Because while I understand that the district has their own in-house counsel, the interest of that in-house counsel and the advice that the board is going to get from that attorney is going to be different than what might be in the best interest of the children. Because the CDC will give their guidelines, New York State will adopt it, they'll issue whatever directive, recommendation, or law that they may want to pass. But ultimately, it's going to be up to the school board to interpret it and implement it. And this is where I think a school board should have the flexibility and the ability to bring in the child psychologists of our district bring in the behaviorists of our district, bring in the therapists, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, get together, go through the different recommendations, see how they work, see how they fit, see how they can be executed, and have flexibility, whether it's flexibility with smaller classes or breaking up the day or however it is, but we got to get the kids in the classroom.
Thank you. The next third question, we will begin with you, Ms. Levine. And that question is, what is your idea for what a reimagined education plan might look like?
Being completely honest, I really like the way the education system was prior to the pandemic. I mean, in a perfect world, that's what I would like it to see. I really think, like many people said, we need to listen to the governor and get the mandates that are coming down from the government. We need to listen to the CDC, and we need to really figure out what works best in our community. It's New York is a big place. Country is a big place. All states are big, but we're really big and we're very diverse. We have the largest city. We have Long Island, which is really completely different than really most of the rest of New York. We have the rural areas up in New York. We need to make decisions that are right for where we live, which is Long Island, and which is right for Merrick, really. That's it.
Mr. Yamali.
I'm a believer. Why fix something that's not broken? I think we have the best education curriculum that you could possibly have. Look at the rankings. We're like one of the top in the state, one of the top in the country. I don't know if you realize that Merrick schools are a little bit unique from the Long Island. You have 4 component districts that make one high school district. You have Merrick, North Merrick, Belmont, South Belmont. All 4 districts make into one when they go to high school. If you realize that the outcome, I mean, Merrick School District consistently wins the highest outcome of any student every year. It's for the past 12 years, I'm on the board. Every year we have the highest outcome student who graduates the highest, has the best grades, best curriculum, art, whatever it may be. I mean, why change that? This is great. I mean, I'm proud to be here. I fight for this. I fight for this every day. This is great. That's my answer.
Ms. Venditti.
Sorry, I just had to unmute. I don't want to reimagine education. I have to tell you, when I heard Governor Cuomo's announcement a few weeks ago, the hair stood up on the back of my neck. Of course, look, I always believe in raising the bar for our kids, giving them the opportunity to reach their greatest potential. But, things have come down the road, top-down directives that came to us many years ago with the Common Core learning standards that weren't great for everyone. And I think we are going to reimagine education, but I don't think it's going to be in the way the governor intended. Because I think we all understand that our children are very different. They all have different learning needs. And, as an educational advocate and the parent of a child with disabilities, and by the way, all 3 of my kids are very diverse, very different learners. It's one thing to know it, but then it's another thing to see it in your living room for the past couple of months. And I think that a lot of parents, now that we've had the opportunity, in many ways, we're delivering education to our kids through the school day, and we're seeing the differences in how our children are learning. I think it's going to wake a lot of parents up. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for families and for parents to pay more attention to what's coming down the road. I think we're going to be very supportive of our teachers. If we didn't appreciate them before, I know I did, but they're superstars. And we need to get our kids back in, and we need to support the different learning abilities of all of our children. And we really need to take a whole child approach. And I'm hoping for a parent revolution from this whole experience.
Mr. Solomon-Zada. You muted. Mr. Solomon-Zada?
Yeah. So read back to me that question again, please.
Sure. What is your idea for what a reimagined education plan might look like?
Yeah, so I'm going to say this, though. After I read some of the suggestions that have been circulating, I'm more fearful of what type of environment we're going to create for our kids moving forward. And what I think would be a catastrophe on top of a disaster is if our schools turn into institutions like a hospital, because the kids that are going to come in are not going to adapt to that. Your K through fourth graders are still learning their core cognitive abilities. So a reimagined school system is going to have to be flexible. It's going to have to, you're going to have to be flexible with the teachers. You're going to have to be flexible with what teachers are teaching what courses based on the teacher's health, perhaps. You're going to have to be flexible with the number of students that are in a class, depending on the circumstance of those students that make up that class. If we don't have classrooms that can accommodate, maybe we bring in portable units that can accommodate students in like the field, heated indoors, so that students can still come in and have the discipline of coming into the school system. I think that ultimately, though, we can accomplish multiple tasks at the same time without sacrificing the educational and academic integrity of our district. There's no reason why we can't figure out a way to make this work that's safe for everybody and still accommodates based on the risk, based on the data, still accommodates the kids and helps the kids cope with the situation that they're in now. And what I would hate to see from a current school board member moving forward is that they turn to us parents at some point and they say, we have no choice. That's not an acceptable response. There's always a choice to interpret and implement what's in the best interest of our kids.
Thank you. And Mr. Bashian.
Thank you. Although I've played the role of teacher for the last few months, I'm not going to pretend to be one. I think that we need to take everything that Governor Cuomo says with a grain of salt. And one of the things that I think is very dangerous is this Reimagine plan where we want to make schooling virtual. That's not in the best interest of our children. My own children will tell you. I mean, they denied me tenure last week when I tried extending into the next end of the school year, but it was denied. But life is different, and we shouldn't just be accepting a good school district. We should be striving to be the best school district. And I have 3 kids I have 2 twins right now in kindergarten, an older boy in 3rd grade. And I'm going to do everything possible to make sure that they get the best education. And that's why this is personal for me. I have elementary age children, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that Merrick is the best and that they get into the best schools when they get older and have good careers and become professionals.
Thank you, Mr. Bashian. The next question is addressed directly to Mr. Yamale. So I will ask that, and then if other candidates, want an opportunity to comment on it, then they have the time to do so. The question reads, Mr. Yamale, I've seen your company has been in the papers, sued for monies owed. Can the people of Merrick trust you to run the district school board with monies involved?
My answer is very simple. I'm the one that sued the different lawsuits that are there. I have won the majority of the lawsuits, where I'm ready to settle the final one. My company's been in business for 4 decades, not just started last week. I have fiscal responsibility. My own company is a large company, has almost the same budgetary needs as this whole school district. So I can definitely operate it. I have no problem running it while we run the school board. I have never been accused of anything. While I was president of the board, the biggest accusation that they made against me that we had too much money in the school board. We had too much money in our reserves. And those reserve money we use now for capital improvements. I advocate for that. So anybody says they have a problem with me, I'll give you my number, I'll explain to you, I'll show you the lawsuits. I have no problem with that. That was more than political posturing by the person that was trying to run for town of Hempstead supervisor. And obviously you saw what happened to her, she lost. And she was actually right, why am I sitting here today? So that part, it aggravates me that somebody could even say that, but I understand because it's a question. I have no problem defending myself, and I will definitely be here to talk to whoever likes to speak to me about it.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other comments from any of the other candidates? Okay, moving on. Ms. Venditti, you will begin. with this question. With all that is going on in the world right now, it seems that funding and budget cuts are inevitable. What areas or programs would you consider making cuts to, and which ones would you refuse to make cuts to? Please be specific.
Oh, that's a fun one. You know, it's amazing. The last, a couple months ago, I was advocating on behalf of the New York State PTA. I attended a legislative summit up in Albany to advocate for a $2.1 billion increase to state aid. And now here we are just hoping and praying that we aren't going to suffer any budget cuts. Here we are. I know that there was a pandemic adjustment done to the budget of approximately 47,000. And then we got some federal CARES money to apply to that. But with the revenue stream being what it is, there will be periodic evaluations of the revenue and we'll find out what cuts are coming. I know Governor Cuomo has promised a 20% cut. He's even bloviated talking about 50% cuts. I don't know how any school district can survive those cuts. And I'm really hoping and praying that we don't have any, that maybe he just wants to save the day and we won't have any cuts, but we have to be realistic. We have to be prepared for it. I would take a look at the budget and I don't want to cut anything. I'll be honest with you. It's very, very tough with an elementary school budget because we don't have a lot of fat. You know, I'm sure, look, there's going to be padding everywhere, and that's going to take a line by line look at every single thing to make it add up to whatever proposed cut there is. If it's a 20% cut, no one's going to like to hear this one. But typically what happens with an elementary school district like ours, where we don't have a lot of extracurricular activities, the first thing to go is busing. I know it stinks. No one wants to get rid of busing. North Merrick doesn't have busing, but we're going to have to make some very tough decisions because our school is so great because of the enrichment activities, the foreign language, Apex, our student council. Sorry, I can go on forever. We'll have to take a look at it and I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Solomon-Zada, and you're still on mute, Mr. Solomon-Zada.
Yes, thank you. I caught that. So as a specific answer, initially I would say that I think one of the areas that might easily be cut or reduced would be the administrative expenses of the district. I would not want to cut services to students. I would not want to adjust their quality and quality of school life. But if it's possible to reduce some of the administrative expenses at the top of the district, I would look to that. And along the same lines as what Butch had mentioned, you know, I think it's important that as an individual that's run a business as I have for 20 years and has litigated against numerous businesses over the last 20 years, it's important to take a line-by-line approach and to try to monitor the tax ramifications of our budget and not try to increase our taxes, because as a taxpayer in the district, it's important that we want to attract young couples, young families to the district. And if you keep raising the taxes, you're not going to attract those people to the district. I would love nothing more than if in the future Butch were a mentor to me after this. And hopefully, you know, new, fresh individuals can come onto this board and can take control of their own children's destiny within their own district. So I think it's important to be flexible when it comes to the budgeting. I would not want to touch anything that affected the quality of our students' education academically. But if you're asking for a specific answer initially, I would probably look at the administrative expenses.
Mr. Bashian.
Thank you. I'm sure Butch is a nice guy, but I wouldn't choose him to mentor me. I represent a lot of clients like Butch, and my first word of advice would probably be don't talk about your lawsuit when they're pending. But with that said, I think we do need to look at the budget. I think we do need to see where monies are being spent. I think it's premature right now to say that we should be cutting this or doing that. A few years ago, I was an advocate for busing for all students in Merrick. And I would hope that that's not one of the places that we cut for other families that have work every day and that need to get our children to and from safely to school. My children aren't busing students, and we rearranged our lives to make sure that they get to school every day safely, despite the fact we both work full time. But other parents, I hope, aren't going to be put in that same position because of, COVID. But with that said, I think we need to take a hard look at the numbers. We need to ensure that the budget gets passed at this new election, and we need to make sure that we keep improving education for all of our children.
Ms. Levine,
You're on mute, Jill.
you're on mute.
Can you hear me? Okay. I think this is one of the areas where, in this case, experience is very important. We obviously, this pandemic is something that really nobody has had to deal with before, but the district has had to deal with issues and with hard years. Superstorm Sandy, that also had very far-reaching effects, particularly for our school district, because people were so seriously hit here in our school district. And the line by line, yes, of course we need to go line by line. We always go line by line. We literally sit there and go line by line over and over again. I get home very late on those budget nights because we're going line by line. What do I want to cut? I don't want to cut anything. Merrick is great because we have amazing programs. One of the things as a school board member is we hire great people that help to make our district great. And we have great people who work on our budgets. We have great people who run, who are the administrators of our district. And I have confidence in them that they are going to do whatever they need to do. There have been things before. There have been other times where we thought we might need to cut programs. And thankfully, we have not had to do that. And I really take great pride in the fact that I have been on a board that hasn't had to do that. Despite hard times, we have never pierced the tax cap that we have to work within, and we've continued to maintain and grow our programs.
And lastly, Mr. Yamali.
First of all, anybody that knows me, I'm a fighter. Before I would throw up the white flag, we're going to fight this out. I'm going to call every congressman. We're going to fight for that CARES Act to bring more money into the district so you don't have to worry about this. We're not going to sit back and say we're going to cut things. We're not cutting anything, especially the size of our classroom. We're not going to do that. We're not going to cut any programs. If we're going to cut anything, we're going to trim up on our utilities or things that we can save a few bucks on. And if it gets down to it, maybe some after-school programs where the public uses the building and not the students, that might be something that we have to cut. We're definitely not going to cut anything with curriculum. We're not going to cut busing. That's like, I'll fight for that all day and all night. That's what I'm here for. And my board members, everybody that's on the board with me now, everyone's a fighter. Look at Jill, she'll fight it out too. Everybody, Nancy, Gina, everybody, Segal, they're all like that. They're fantastic. But by trimming on some utilities or cutting back on some after-school public events, or maybe we stop some capital improvement projects, we're going to maintain what we have. We're not going to stop until we fight. I'll call congressmen. I'll go to Washington. I don't care what it takes. We're going to maintain what we have. That's it.
All right. I see that the time is about 8 o'clock, so let's begin our closing statements. Beginning in the same order as opening, so that is beginning with you, Mr. Bashian. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of their busy schedules to not only speak on these important issues, but also for all the parents in the district, as well as community members who are here today listening. This is an important time for all of us. In the past, I attended board meetings or something that I felt very strongly about, and the reaction by many of the board members was very cold and unwelcoming to a group of parents that felt strongly about something. And on that day, when that happened, I made a commitment that I was going to run for the school board. Jill, you were actually one of the trustees who I thought was great. The others, not so much, but I'm here, to be an advocate for everybody. I want to be somebody that any parent could count on to, come to me with a question. I'm not here, to promote my law firm. I'm not here to promote my brand or my businesses. I'm here for my children. I'm here for the community. I want there to be awareness of what's going on in the district. And I want to make the future brighter than ever before. I think we have new and difficult times ahead of us. I think we need fresh blood on the board. I think we need smart people. I believe I have the skill set and the resources that will be a huge asset for this district. And I hope that everyone will vote for me on June 9th. Thank you.
Ms. Levine.
Mute, Joe.
Ms. Levine, you're on mute.
Unmute.
Come on, Joe.
Modern technology, right?
Technology is very hard.
I'm touching the button.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Okay. The Merrick community has given my family so much over the years. I always feel that it's my responsibility to give back. One of the ways I feel I'm giving back, and I have given back, is by being on the school board. Just as another small example, recently with the COVID crisis, I gathered together with a friend of mine who I met at Lakeside School, and we pulled together to help our community, help its members, and to help local businesses through our group, helping our heroes. And another thing I've done to thank the community is with the Robbie Levine Foundation. I didn't have to do that. I did it because I feel like it's the right thing. And like I said before, I always try to do the right thing. I try to give back. I am very grateful that I live here. I am so thankful that my children have been educated and continue to be educated with our amazing schools. That's why my husband and I moved here 20 years ago. We've really accomplished many things in the last several years since I've been on the board. A few highlights: we've improved our language program. We've responded to facility needs as indicated with the Chatterton expansion. We have always stayed within the tax cap. We have great special ed programs. We change with the times. We do what we need to do because we want to be the best. And that's one of the reasons that we really are the best. In general, we have incredible teachers, we have incredible administrators, and we have a staff that truly cares about the children and their families. I am experienced, I try to give back, and I really love living here. Please vote for me, Jill Levine, and I promise to do my very best in a trustworthy and respectful way to continue to help provide the Merrick community with an outstanding education for all of its students and keep Merrick a place that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Mr. Solomon-Zada.
Thank you. So, I'd like to thank all the board members, Butch and Jill, as well as the other board members for their years of service. Some many years of service. But I think it's time for new board members to come onto this board. At this moment, there are many sacrifices being made on multiple levels, but our children are perhaps making the greatest sacrifice of all, an effective and complete education. And I know that our district has done a great job of engaging our students with remote learning. Compared to other districts, we've stepped up tremendously. And I'm confident that our teachers can get our kids to catch up in the future and make up for any regression that may exist now. But as a parent with firsthand knowledge of doing daily homework with my kids, and as a teacher that just finished teaching a Zoom class at Hofstra, there is no substitute for in-person instruction. This is particularly true for students K through 4th grade. I see it with my kids. I see it with my older child who's getting the remote learning, but there's still no substitute for the socialization skills, the confidence building, the interpersonal communications that are developed with their peers and with their teachers. So getting the kids back into the school system has to be the mission of any school district. And I think as an attorney with a background in litigating, with a background in interpreting laws, with a background in bringing in different resources, resources to bring information to the board and be flexible with different types of plans, different types of implementations. I think that's the most important thing to have in a school board right now. And as your representative, I work tirelessly to make that happen and to maintain the physical and mental health, the academic and socialization skills of our students, to build their overall enjoyment and quality of school life for our kids. That's in their best interest. And I promise to do this tirelessly for as long as you have me on your board.
Ms. Venditti.
Hi, I'm Nicole Venditti, and I don't want to take away your busing. So just like Butch, I will fight for everything. I'm a proven advocate. I am dedicated to equitable state aid, and I will do whatever I can to make sure that we do not feel the pain. At least that we don't feel it too hard, because it looks like everyone's going to be feeling some pain. But I just want to say thank you so much to the community for tuning in tonight. I feel like we only had a short time to talk, and we were limited by such few topics. So if you would like to learn more about me, please visit facebook.com/Venditti for BOE. I will be posting regularly through June 9th, so please come and join the conversation. Thank you very much to the Lakeside PTA, to the League of Women Voters, to Dr. Palma, to the Board of Education, and to Brendan for making all of this happen. Thank you to the candidates for coming tonight and being here to talk about the future of our children's education. Thank you to Zoom, a technology I had no idea existed until the week of March 16th, and for better or for worse, has become the center of my family's life. But I'm glad we have it tonight so that we could come together, we could discuss the issues, and that the voters can have a chance to see us under these stressful times, and they can make an informed decision when their ballots arrive. I encourage every eligible voter in Merrick, please exercise your civic duty, get to the mail, please vote, and please vote for our school budget. We really, really need to fund our schools. And I hope that I will have earned your vote for trustee. As you have seen, I'm very passionate about education. I've devoted my practice to helping families get the educational resources their children need. I've been a volunteer, a community leader, an agent of change, and a strong advocate for all children. I will work hard for you. I will do what is right for every child that walks in through our school doors, and what is right for every community member that is invested in our district. Thank you.
Mr. Yamale.
First, I want to thank everyone, most importantly. In conclusion, I'm a proud member of the Merrick School Board for the past 12 years. Yes, people have not run against us because we're doing such a good job. We fight hard for the community. Just really fast, I'm a 20-year resident. Fiscal responsibility is very important. I know there's a lot of lawyers around here that's right here right now, including my daughter and my brother and my cousins, everybody else, all lawyers. We need business people. We need experience right now. It's not about litigating. There's nothing to litigate. And we need experience of bringing things back. Fiscal responsibility. There's going to be a money shortage out there. We're not going to be fighting in court. We're going to be fighting to get money. That's where that's my whole thing. Small class sizes, 15 to 18. That's what we have in Merrick. Everybody else has more than that, and the state was over 30. So imagine that. We got to fight for that. Capital projects. While I'm on the board, look at the capital projects that we're doing. We're rebuilding Chatterton. We're putting in air conditioning in the school districts. We're redoing electrical systems, plumbing systems that were antiquated and falling apart. It'll save us money in the future. That's where it all comes to. Have money available, you're going to have great education. You have no money, big class size. It's very simple. Nothing about litigating, nothing at all. I'm very approachable. You can reach me anytime. My phone was posted on all my political campaign ads. My phone number is posted right on it. Call me. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, go on Instagram. I'll be on every one of them, giving you more and more information about me and about the school and what we've done to make our school great. These difficult decisions have to be made, and somebody has to have experience. You're not going to be able to walk in the door as a new school board member and start with COVID and figure out how you're going to get people back to school the right way. I understand everybody's passionate, and I get it. And one of you will be there along with, hopefully I'll be there with you. But you need experience now, you need fight. For not having your children on a school board, I never had kids in that school while I was on the school board the past 12 years. They were already done. So if you like what's going on in the past, you'll continue to vote for me because you're going to continue. I'm going to fight for you. And that's my whole thing. And I want to thank you. And I want to thank the candidates, Dr. Palmer and League of Women Voters. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Yamale. And with that concludes the candidates' night. For the Merrick Union Free School District, I would like to remind you, anyone tuned in, to please remember to vote. Your absentee ballot, your mail-in ballot is due on June 9th. Thank you for your active participation in government, and we hope that this has been an informative forum.
So I did not disappear. I was here all the whole time. Thank you to the candidates for your fine answers to the questions and staying within time limits. Thank you to the volunteers from the League of Women Voters, our moderator, Jessica Weaver, and our timekeeper, Francine Furtado. You did a fantastic job. I'm sure this is even more challenging than a public meeting has been in the past. So thank you again. For those of you who do not think in the community that there's much good on TV for the rest of the evening, in a few minutes, we're going to transition to a budget and board meeting. I invite you all to join us. Thank you, and I'll see you there in a few minutes. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Good night.